Hello dear US Report World viewers, today we have an exclusive guest, USaid's Acting Assistant Administrator of Asia, Mr. Javier Piedra. Mr. Javier, welcome to our studio, thanks for your time, and we are happy to see you here today.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm very happy to be here as well. And I manage all of Asia, that would be from the Pacific Islands to the Caspian Sea, down to the Maldives. And so that is a very large territory, but I have a particular interest, of course, in Central Asia because I lived here for 16 years.
Oh, really?
Full-time in Almaty, but traveled all over the region and many times to Tashkent. My first trip here was in 2000. I was working with the, at that time, on biodiversity issues related to water management and the preservation of forests and species in the mountain areas primarily.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I know, Mr. Javier, you've just arrived, and what's the purpose of your visit?
Well, first of all, let me reiterate what I just said. Uzbekistan is very dear to my heart because of the long time I have been working in the region. The primary purpose of my visit here is to ensure that our programs, which have been growing over the last 4 years, in fact, they have grown up to by 400%, the U.S. government's activities and programs in Uzbekistan, to ensure their continuity and to focus on what one of our main activities is really, or focuses, is a partnership that delivers. And we have to drill down and work in a number of different areas. The second reason is, and to ensure that that happens, is that we're opening a new mission here, which is a very rare event. And that new mission will have additional resources and it will have additional staff. And that staff will be focused on bilateral and regional programs in a multiplicity of lines of effort that we coordinate very closely with the government. And over the last 2 or 3 days, I have had meetings with the Prime Minister, with the Deputy Prime Minister, as well as the Foreign Minister. And we have discussed specifically how we may be able to even better improve a already superlative relationship, and then how we can, deliver on a lot of the policy and strategic objectives or activities that we're looking at.
Can you elaborate further on your visit to Uzbekistan?
Yes, thank you for asking that. One of the main reasons that I am in Uzbekistan as well is to coordinate our activities with the DFC and USAID collaborate in the development process. And so I joined the DFC delegation here 2 days ago, and we have had a number of meetings to see how we might be able to follow up on an MOU that was signed between the government of Uzbekistan and the United States. And these are projects essentially, or resources that would be allocated towards projects that would span from infrastructure all the way to clean developmental related projects that are not necessarily infrastructure related. It could be in banking, it could be to increase the access to credit, it could be like towards water management, a number of different things. And that's up to the DFC, and we would be providing assistance to the DFC, and that's something that we're doing all over the world.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Piedra, what will it mean for US Uzbekistan bilateral relationship now that USAID has the mission in the country?
Well, we're going to continue to develop that relationship, deepen the friendship that already exists between our two countries. We've been in Uzbekistan working closely with the government since independence in the early 90s. You're seeing now the fruition of that long-term commitment and the relationships that we've developed in multiple sectors of the country and with our counterparts specifically. And so it's not a business relationship, it's a relationship of friendship that leads to outputs that are good for the people of Uzbekistan. And this would be in the rural areas as well as in the urban areas, and then, as I said earlier, a number of lines of effort, which would be in the health sector, education sector, judicial sector, the development of the private sector, agriculture, et cetera. So these are some of the areas that we're working on, and we will continue to ensure that those projects deliver results.
Well, another question, Mr. Javier, in which development sectors is USaid working in Uzbekistan?
We have an active program in health, which focuses primarily up to now in with tuberculosis and infectious diseases. We also have activities in the economic sector. In education, of course, we have and this was a first in the region. We signed what we call at USAID a DOAG, which is an agreement, a bilateral agreement. And we have up to $50 million for education. And that has a number of activities under that over multiple years. We have an agricultural program that we will be launching as well. And agriculture is critical for Uzbekistan. Up to a quarter of the population is in the agricultural sector. So we're looking at the diversification, increased competitiveness, value change, cold storage, moving into exports. And these are the type of activities that we've been working on with the government. And we have specialists here on the ground who are keen on putting their knowledge bringing into effect.
Can you tell me more about your implementing partners?
Yes, that's a very good question. But what I'd like to really underscore here, which is very important, is that the government of Uzbekistan has registered a number of our implementing partners, and this is an extraordinarily important thing to do because we can only work in a country if our implementing partners, i.e. those with whom we collaborate, they could be local or foreign, have to be registered and recognized in the country. So I'd like to thank the government, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, and everyone who's working in the government for seeing this to its logical conclusion, i.e. the registration of our implementing partners. And this is an ongoing process, but we're very thankful that it's moving forward.
Mr. Javier, we are aware that USAID has allocated an additional $18.9 million to support private sector-led growth in agriculture in Uzbekistan. So you've already mentioned about this. Can you tell us more about this topic?
Sure. The $18.9 million will be allocated over a number of years to support the agricultural sector. Now, what exactly does that mean? First of all, let's get our facts correct. A quarter of the population of Uzbekistan works in the agricultural sector. And so this is extremely important for not only the government, right, which is serving the people of Uzbekistan, but the actual farmers who are in the agricultural sector. So there are a number of components to this activity, but in short, really, it's to improve competitiveness, to increase the ability of farmers to bring produce to market, to diversify away from, for example, cotton, to allow people to get their produce, as I said earlier, to market, but to ensure that the supply chain works, i.e. from land all the way to the markets and the store, and also to improve the ability of farmers to not only serve the internal demand requirements of Uzbekistan, but also to export first and foremost to the region, and then beyond and outside. So those would be some of the activities that we're working on.
How has USaid assisted Uzbekistan in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, USAID is working at a global level with multiple countries. And in Central Asia, of course, we're working with Uzbekistan, with Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, and the other countries. Very specifically here, we have provided 200 ventilators to the government, and I mentioned this yesterday to the Prime Minister, and he was aware of it and very thankful, as well as to the Deputy Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister. So these are actions that reflect the importance of the relationship with the United States, and then we're working on and providing resources to prevent, detect, and respond to COVID-19, and that's a very complicated issue. But we're confident that what we have provided in coordination with your Ministry of Health has been effective, or at least minimized considerably the number of cases that have arisen in this country. And so we're very happy to be working with you, and we will continue to provide resources in the health sector. Earlier I mentioned tuberculosis, but infectious diseases, which this is. And we will continue to work with the government and our counterparts in Uzbekistan.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Javier, what do you like the most about Uzbekistan?
Well, what do I like the most about Uzbekistan? The people. I always say it's all about people. It's always about people, right? And there's a sense of welcoming here. There's a sense of trust. We want to work with you. We don't know everything. We can learn from you, and you can learn from us, and that's fundamental for any type of relationship moving forward. I have found that the case in all the areas that I've been working in. I've also traveled quite a bit around the country, and I have found that's not just in Tashkent, but you can go to Samarkand, into other areas, and likewise, they're very friendly folk who want to engage, and I think that's the start of effective cooperation and of working together. And it's a partnership that delivers. That's the basis of a partnership that delivers. We're not forcing anything on anyone, right? And so this is the key thing, and that's why on a lot of our activities we have a partnership that develops. I really like that, and so we want to continue building that relationship. So it goes much beyond the food. The food is very good. Yes, it's very good, and so many other things, but it's that human component, that human element of a relationship, which makes work so pleasant.
Yeah, thank you. Very positive. And as long as you are here since 1990s, you noted. I'm sure you know some few words in Uzbek language.
Rahmet, salam,
salam,
and. You taught me one earlier, man, but...
Okay, we have man means me, and we have also the factory.
Okay.
Man factory,
okay,
producing buses and
all
trucks.
Right.
So
okay. Well, right. Those are the only words I really know, unfortunately, but if I were staying here longer, I'd take a couple of classes in Uzbek, which of course is a Turkic language and a very beautiful language. And it's something that I would like, because I'm a semi-linguist. I've studied languages my whole life, and if I could study Uzbek, I would do it for sure.
Which languages, by the way, do you speak?
Well, English, Spanish, and Russian.
Oh,
yes.
So very good.
Yeah.
So you can communicate in Russian, so many people do.
Yes, I mean, after 16 years here, it's quite a task to learn Russian, because it's a very complicated, deep language with a lot of words, and you have to feel the language. and English, of course, and then Spanish, which is my native because I was born in Cuba. Yeah, and so, I came as a very small boy to the United States and grew up basically in the United States. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for a positive conversation. And if you would like to say some words to an Uzbek nation through UzReport World, please, you're welcome.
Well, I mean, basically is what I said. Remain very committed to your goals and to your ideals. I think the government has a spectacular strategy in place. And now our role really is to assist you, as others are, to assist you to operationalize the grand strategy, yeah? Which has a number of different components, right? But to bring to life what we're talking about. And so that requires hard work, focus, an ability to listen, an ability to say yes, and an ability to say no, and to move things forward. And this is complicated because of the history, but also because things are complicated in life. And we have to be flexible and move forward and listen to the folks who know a little bit more, and to your government and the strategies that they're carrying out, and we're here to assist in any way we can. And we have a full team here. We have a mission director, and we interface very closely with the embassy as well as the other departments of the interagency, the Department of Commerce. We're also working on trade issues, WTO, World Trade Organization. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Javier. It was our pleasure to talk to you, and hope to see you again very soon.
Well, I hope to return again. I love this place, and you can bet that I'll be back soon. So thank you for your time as well.
You're welcome. So, dear UzReport World viewers, we had a special guest today, USaid's Acting Assistant Administrator in Asia, Mr. Javier Piedra. Thank you again.
And thank you for your time.